By the end of this video, you will be able to greet and take leave according to one's status, age, gender, and time of the day, just like Ethiopians do. We will discuss the most widely used ways of greetings. I've also included a bonus method if you stick to the end. I would like to ask a huge favor. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel before watching this video. Thank you so much. Amasagnaalo. Hi everyone, welcome to Speak Amharic. My name is Eyob. I was born and raised in Ethiopia, so I am a native Amharic speaker. Amharic is the second most widely spoken Semitic language in the world, only second to Arabic. Did you know that Amharic, the official language of Ethiopia, is one of the few languages that uses its own original script? That's right, it's written with a version of the Ge'ez script known as Fido. This Semitic language with its unique script is spoken by more than 57 million people. Let's dive into one of the most common expressions in any language, which is the greetings. Greetings means salamta in Amharic. Salamta. Salamta. Amharic greetings are a beautiful blend of linguistic precision and cultural respect. They allow us to adjust our language based on the person we are addressing, reflecting the importance of social hierarchies and gender in Ethiopian culture. Before we dive into today's lesson, I would like to give you some cultural side note which will be helpful to know. Amharic greetings might differ slightly from region to region. It's always an important part of social interaction. Sometimes the greeting may extend to asking about other family members and many other things about life. So this should tell you that Ethiopians take greetings seriously and do it from their heart. While greeting and taking leave, bowing, shaking hands, and removing hats are common, kissing one another's cheek is also practiced, especially upon meeting someone after an extended period of time. Using both hands when shaking hands with elders and officials indicate respect, which can be done by supporting the left hand with the right forearm or by putting both hands on the elder's hand. Putting your hands in your pocket while talking with elders shows disrespect, so don't do it. Young people in Ethiopia will typically greet each other by shaking hands and bumping shoulders. Alright, before we dive into today's lesson, I would also want to add one another note, which is about the alphabet, how we are going to deal with the Amharic alphabet going forward in our lessons. As learning the Amharic alphabet takes some time, in all of my upcoming videos, I will use the International Phonetic Alphabet IPA notations. I believe this makes learning and pronouncing Amharic sounds easier. This also allows anyone to start learning Amharic right away, which I think is great. So let's learn how to greet in Amharic just like Ethiopians. In Amharic, the simplest and most common way to say hello is Selam. Selam. This word carries a profound meaning, translating to peace and sending a wish of peace to the person you are greeting. While Salam is the most versatile greeting, suitable for any gender or age basically, Amharic also offers specific ways to greet people based on their gender, status or age, and the number of people you are addressing or you are talking to. Alright, let's see how it is done in detail. We will start from general greetings. So, to say hello in Amharic, you would say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. ጤና ይስጥልኝ. ጤና ይስጥልኝ. ጤና ይስጥልኝ. So this is the most formal way of greeting in Amharic, and it can be used for any gender at any time of the day. It directly translates to may God give you health. The other person can reply by repeating it again by saying ጤና ይስጥልኝ. ጤና ይስጥልኝ. The other general greeting is adding something to the word that you already know, Selam. So we can say ሰላም ነው, ሰላም ነው, ሰላም ነው. So this is a bit informal, but it can be used for any person or any time of the day. It actually translates to is everything okay? When you say salam no, you are saying is everything okay? Are you fine? So it's kind of a question, so the other person would reply to you. So let's proceed to how are you. You can say how are you in Amharic in different ways, but this time it has to be adjusted according to the gender of the person that you are talking. So እንዴት ነህ እንዴት ነህ እንዴት ነህ እንዴት ነህ. So this is saying how are you for a male, and the other person can respond by saying ደህና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን ደህና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን ደህና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን. So this actually means praise God, or you can simply say ደህና ደህና ነኝ, which means I am good. And for a female it would be እንዴት ነሽ እንዴት ነሽ እንዴት ነሽ. So the word እንዴት stayed the same, but the word ነ changed to ነሽ when it comes to for a female. At the same time, this can be also replied by saying ደህና ነኝ ደህና ነኝ, I am good. In the other cases, when you talk to someone who is very old, elderly person, or someone who is high status. In Ethiopia, people tend to show respect for older people even by adjusting the way they greet. When you greet an older people, you would say እንዴት ነዎት እንዴት ነዎት. So notice that እንዴት stays the same, but the word that comes after changed. ነዎት. It was ነህ was for a male, ነሽ was for a female, and now when it comes to talking to elder person, it becomes ነዎት. So this shows some kind of respect, and it's a more polite way to greet an elderly person or someone who is in higher status. እንዴት ነዎት እንዴት ነዎት. All right. So lastly, when you greet a group of people, you say እንዴት ናችሁ እንዴት ናችሁ እንዴት ናችሁ እንዴት ናችሁ. So the group can answer by saying ደህና ነን ደህና ነን ደህና ነን, we are good. That's what it means, ደህና ነን. I would like to add one other way of saying how are you in a slightly different way. So what you normally have to do is you change the word እንዴት with Selam. When you replace the word እንዴት with Selam, it becomes ሰላም ነህ. This is for a male. ሰላም ነህ, the literal translation for this would be are you in peace, or is everything going in peace? That's what it means if you try to translate it directly. And for female, ሰላም ነሽ ሰላም ነሽ. And for elderly or someone who is in higher status, to show your respect, you would say ሰላም ነዎት ሰላም ነዎት. And for a group, finally, ሰላም ናችሁ ሰላም ናችሁ. So I recommend you to practice pronouncing these phrases in words next to me, because I believe it helps you to be familiar with the words, with the sounds and everything, so that the learning process would be even more interesting. Let's see time specific greetings now. Generally, morning is from dawn until noon, while afternoon is the time from lunch until approximately the end of the workday or sunset. Lastly, evening is after a normal working time is over, or after sunset until bedtime. First, to say good morning in Amharic to a male, you would say ደህና አደርክ ደህና አደርክ ደህና አደርክ. This literally can be translated to how was your night, and the other person can respond by saying ደህና ነኝ ደህና ነኝ, I am fine. For a female, you would say ደህና አደርሽ ደህና አደርሽ ደህና አደርሽ. And for elderly people, you would say ደህና አደሩ ደህና አደሩ ደህና አደሩ. And lastly, for a group, you would say ደህና አደራችሁ ደህና አደራችሁ ደህና አደራችሁ. So here you can also greet slightly in a different way by changing the word ደህና with እንደምን, or ደህና with ሰላም. Let's see an example. እንደምን አደርክ. So you are saying here good morning to a male. እንደምን አደርክ. And the other person can reply by saying ደህና ነኝ. And for a female, እንደምን አደርሽ እንደምን አደርሽ. This can also be answered in the same way, ደህና ነኝ. In the third case, for a polite way of saying good morning for an elderly person, you would say እንደምን አደሩ. እንደምን አደሩ. እንደምን አደሩ. So that person can answer by saying ደህና ነኝ. Lastly, for a group, you would say እንደምን አደራችሁ. እንደምን አደራችሁ. At the same time, if you replace the word ደህና with Selam, you can get another way of saying good morning, Selam አደርክ, for a male. They can be replied in the same way. ደህና ነኝ. Great. Now, let's see how to say good afternoon in Amharic. You can say ደህና ዋልክ for a male. ደህና ዋልክ. These literally can be translated to is your day going well? And it can be responded by adjusting according to the person. So the other person can say ደህና ነኝ. To say good afternoon for a female, ደህና ዋልሽ, ደህና ዋልሽ, and she can reply by saying ደህና ነኝ, or simply ደህና. For elderly person, ደህና ዋሉ. Lastly, for a group, ደህና ዋላችሁ, ደህና ዋላችሁ, ደህና ዋላችሁ. There is another way to say good afternoon by just changing the word ደህና with እንደምን or with Selam, and you get another way of saying good afternoon, which is nice, I guess. So when you change the word ደህና with እንደምን, you can say እንደምን ዋልክ for a male. For a female, እንደምን ዋልሽ. For an elderly person, እንደምን ዋሉ. For a group, እንደምን ዋላችሁ. And this can be answered by saying the group can say ደህና ነን, ደህና ነን, which means we are good. Now let's cover how to say good evening in Amharic. So we say ደህና አመሸህ for a male. ደህና አመሸህ, ደህና አመሸህ. So this literally can be translated to is your evening going well? And it can be responded by saying ደህና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን, or simply by saying ደህና ነኝ. For a female, ደህና አመሸሽ, ደህና አመሸሽ. This can also be answered by saying ደህና ነኝ, ደህና ነኝ. And for elderly, ደህና አመሹ፣ ደህና አመሹ፣ ደህና አመሹ. And lastly, for a group, you can say ደህና አመሻችሁ, ደህና አመሻችሁ. Just like we discussed other greetings earlier, you can also get a slightly different way of saying good evening by just switching the word ደህና with እንደምን. So for a male, you can say good evening by saying እንደምን አመሸህ, እንደምን አመሸህ. For a female, እንደምን አመሸሽ, እንደምን አመሸሽ. And for elderly person, you can say እንደምን አመሹ, እንደምን አመሹ. And lastly, for a group, እንደምን አመሻችሁ, እንደምን አመሻችሁ. In the last part of this video, I want to teach you how to say have a good day, good night, and goodbye. To say have a good day in Amharic, you can say ደህና ዋል for a male, ደህና ዋል. And it can be replied by repeating the same phrase by adjusting according to the person. So it becomes ደህና ዋል. So if he is, for example, talking to another man, he would say ደህና ዋል. And if he were like talking to a female, he would say ደህና ዋይ. So to say have a good day for a female, you would say ደህና ዋይ. And for an elderly person, you would say ደህና ዋሉ, ደህና ዋሉ. And for a group, in this case, it would be the same, ደህና ዋሉ. To say good night in Amharic, ደህና እደር, ደህና እደር for a male, ደህና እደሪ for a female, ደህና እደሪ. And it can be replied by adjusting to the person's gender. For an elderly person, you can say ደህና እደሩ, ደህና እደሩ. And lastly, for a group, this would be the same, ደህና እደሩ. Finally, to say goodbye in Amharic, we normally use ciao, which is very common, but we also say goodbye in another way. So for a male, we can say ደህና ሁን, ደህና ሁን. For a female, ደህና ሁኚ, ደህና ሁኚ. For an elderly person, ደህና ሁኑ. Again, lastly, the group will be the same, ደህና ሁኑ. Now, you might be wondering, where is the bonus method? Here you go. This method is more of a slang and it's mostly used in cities. So to say how are you, you can say አማን ነው, አማን ነው. It can be responded by saying አለን, አለን. By the way, this response can be used with other greetings that we have discussed earlier, with the exception of the formal one if you want to keep your responses short. From now on, I hope you can greet just like us. So when you meet someone who speaks Amharic, remember to use these greetings. After all, isn't that a beautiful way to start any conversation? That's all I have for you today. Which one do you like the most? Which one do you find easier? Let me know in the comment section. If you have any question or topics you would like me to cover, feel free to drop them in the comment section. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Your support encourages me to create more content like this regularly. በጣም አመሰግናለሁ. Thank you so much. See you in the next lesson. Ciao.